If you guys love playing d5 against e4, the Scandinavian defense, then guys, I have a small suggestion for you. Just wait for a little bit. Just wait for a one move and play e5 in this position. Your opponent is probably going to develop his knight and now you play d5. This is called the elephant gambit and it offers way more aggressive position. It offers way more attacking plans. It offers way more high win rate as compared to d5 alone, the Scandinavian defense, guys, because elephant gambit is known for its aggressiveness. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play d5 on the second move, which is called the elephant gambit, and how to crush your opponent in no time. All I want from you guys is to hit the like button, comment down that how you like this video, and also subscribe the channel to support it. And also guys, this gives me motivation to upload more content like this. So let's go with this. Let's go back. There is one more thing that I want to tell you guys. Let's say your opponent go with the e4, then you directly play d5, the Scandinavian defense. Just have a look on the database. In the database, when we look at the option d5, we can see that we have only 47% win rate and white has 49% win rate. Okay, that's fine. But what will happen if you play e5 here? Your opponent will go knight f3 and then you play d5. Guess what? d5 actually offers, the elephant gambit actually offers higher win rate than the traditional Scandinavian defense. Let me show you how. So if you take a look at database, we have 96, the first numbered most played move, offers only 45% win rate. d6 only 45, knight f6 again 45, bishop c5 is the worst, not the worst, but it's not the also the best. It has only 44%, queen f6 early queen attack 45%, and then we have d5 48%. And guys, you can see it is the highest win rate that you can ever achieve on the second move while playing black. So it's actually very aggressive. There is one other move. It's actually f5, the Latvian gambit, that we will discuss in another video. Don't worry. We are going to discuss d5, the elephant gambit. Now in this particular position, your opponent can play two moves. He can either take this pawn or he can either take this pawn. Let's say if knight takes this pawn, which is actually one of the most common move, then what you have is actually bishop to this d6 hitting on this knight. Now your opponent can play knight f3 and can play d4 defending this knight. However, the best move is d4, but most of the players are gonna just retrieve their knight back, so that's why we have to discuss that also. Knight f3, you just take this pawn hitting on this knight. Now this knight has to move away from his idle square, so that's why guys this knight is actually very upset. Therefore, most of the opponent are not going to play knight f3. They are going to play d4 defending this knight. Then we have pawn takes pawn, that's fine. If black plays knight c3 hitting on this pawn, we just go for knight f6 defending it, it's fine. Then we have bishop g5 pinning this knight to the queen, so that this pawn just become hanging. You can simply go for a castle, that's fine. We have knight take this pawn and thinking like he has won a pawn here, but guess what? That's the trick. We have bishop takes knight first, we have pawn takes, and guess what? We have queen takes queen, rook takes, and now you simply just take this knight, and guess what? This bishop is hanging, and you just won a piece here, a full piece. Okay guys, we are back on the initial position where we discussed knight take this pawn. Let's say what will happen if pawn take this pawn. Then you simply go with the e4. However, you have another option like bishop d6 defending this pawn and also blocking the path. But e4 looks like very aggressive here. Let's say e4, then knight can move to d4. You just take this pawn here, that's fine. This knight is attacked, this pawn is defended. That's not what white wants, right? He is not going to lose his 1 point lead that much easy. Therefore, he will go with queen e2, defend, pinning this pawn to the king. Again, you have two options like knight f6, defending this pawn, hitting on this pawn, and we have bishop e7. Bishop e7 looks very tempting move, so I will go with this first. Let's say queen take this pawn. We have knight f6, hitting on this queen, hitting on this pawn, and that's a simultaneous, double attack, that's fine. We have queen check, pawn blocks, pawn takes, we have knight takes, that's fine. And bishop can pin this knight to the king, and that will become a double attack. Oh, that's problematic, but that's what white is going to do. So we have bishop b5 pinning this knight, and that's a double pressure here. Simply go for castle, that's fine. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and they have queen takes. That's great. We have rook b8. So guys, in this particular position, if we look at the database, people usually play castle or they play knight c3. So we are going to discuss both of these moves. Let's say we are going with knight c3 first because that is second numbered most played move. The moment knight c3 occur, you have to go with a very great maneuver, actually rook b4. Now what is the point behind rook b4? If you will ask me, then I will gladly tell you guys that the purpose is very beautiful, because the next move white is going to play its castle, and we have bishop b7 just trapping this queen. Now that's the reason behind rook b4, because we have to control c4 square, and that's the crucial thing in trapping the queen. That's how you can simply win this game. Queen just had to take this bishop, grab this queen, and just play on. You have to play logically, don't blunder any forks, don't blunder your queen, and you can simply win this game. If we look back to the same position, instead of knight c3, most of the people are gonna do castle. In earlier trick, knight was present at c3, so queen can't escape at the c3 square. But in this position, guys, rook b4 and bishop to this b7 is not gonna work because queen has escape square c3. So that's not gonna work. That's why we have to change our position. We have to change our direction. We have to change our target. We have to go with rook b6, hitting on this queen directly. So queen c3, as we expected, we have knight d5 hitting on this queen and also going for this and this attack. That's very problematic for the white. However, white is not gonna expecting knight sacrifice at g2, so we are going to surprise them. Let's say we have queen a5, just pinning this rook to the queen. We don't care. We have knight to this f4, hitting on, going for a sacrifice, of course. Now let's say white develop the knight at c3. We simply just go for a sacrifice. King takes. We have rook check, and now this queen is actually under attack. King moves away, and do you want to take this queen? Because that's actually very great thing. But I will recommend you to go bishop b7. Now again, if you will ask me, what is the point behind bishop b7? Let's say queen takes queen and we have bishop d7 and that's just a checkmate because there is no one to cover for g2 square and that's just a very great and khatarnak type of checkmate. So I guess you have liked it. Moreover, let's say if your opponent is going to defend this square by playing rook to this g1, you could simply just take this rook. King takes and we have queen takes queen. Guess what? We are still going to win this match. There is nothing that white can do. If we come back to the same position, guys, where we discussed bishop e7, this time we are going to discuss knight f6, directly defending this pawn, hitting on this pawn twice because queen is also attacking here. Let's say we have d3 hitting on this pawn again, then we have queen to this pawn defending it, then we have knight c3 hitting on this queen. We just pin this knight to the king. That's fine. Bishop blocks, takes, then we have castle. I don't know why. I really don't know why that people plays bishop take this knight. I mean, you can look at a database, guys. 44% people are gonna do this mistake. So we have bishop to this knight. You just take this knight, hitting on this queen. Let's say queen take this pawn. You just grab this queen with the queen. Pawn takes, and we have pawn take this bishop. Guess what? Yes, you have a 2-point lead. You just won a piece here. Congratulations, you have a great advantage. I mean, let's just move the engine. We have minus 3.4. minus 3.5 rating, you can simply win this game. Okay guys, we are back on the initial position where we discussed pawn e4. There is another maneuver that is actually very insane. We have bishop d6 defending this pawn. That's fine. We have knight c3, a development. We simply go with knight f6 hitting on this pawn. Not this, this is actually our pawn. So we are not even defending it. We are just hitting on the pawn d5. That's fine. We have bishop c4 hitting, defending this pawn. Then we have e4 hitting on this knight. Now guys, again white can play two moves. This is knight d4 and knight g5. Although knight d4 is the most played move, so we are going to start our analysis from this move only. After knight d4, you have castles. That's fine. They will also go for castle. That's the most. Okay, yes, 68% people will do castle. So we have castle, and this is the only time where you can do the Greek gift sacrifice, because majority of the white's pieces are concentrated on the queen side. This king side is actually very vacant. There are only two pieces. Okay, not two, there is only one piece which is eyeing on this king side, and yes, most of your pieces, yes, are looking on the king side. So congratulations, you have just won a chance to launch of the famous Greek gift sacrifice. We have bishop take this pawn, king takes, we have knight g4, check on this king. There is nothing that block on this check. Let's say guys, king h1, you have queen, where is the queen? Queen h4, check on this king. Let's say king moves away, go for a checkmate. That's fine. Let's say guys, if king goes to g1, you still go with queen h5, going for this checkmate. Let's say rook moves away, you just take this pawn here. King moves away again, you just take another pawn. King moves away, and you have this maneuver. Let's say king moves away, and this is just what? Not a checkmate. Okay, now it's a checkmate. So finally it's a checkmate. That's great. And now guys, is for the final move to discuss. It's king g3, and some players actually gets confused at how they should proceed from this point of time. So guys, don't worry, I am here. I will help you. We have queen d6 check first because as a defense by the bishop, so no one is going to take this knight. Don't worry. Pawn blocks it. Go for an n passant. King takes. We have queen check again. King moves away. This is an attack on the queen. So yes, we have to just go for this check. We can take this knight anytime we want. Don't worry. Just go for a check here. Rook blocks. And then we have pawn to g5 hitting on this rook. Let's say they go with the pawn d3 so that bishop diagonal can be open. You just take this rook, bishop takes, we have queen to this pawn. Knight, so that's fine. We have 4-point lead already. That's really very great. Let's say queen f3, his rook can become at the open file. That's fine. We don't even have to worry about it. We have rook to this e5, controlling this because a rook can't enter this file. That's fine. We have knight blockade. Just sacrifice the rook. If guys pawn takes, this bishop is hanging. That's fine. If queen takes, then this queen is hanging. How queen is hanging? Check. And there's only one square left. King moves away. We don't have a dark square bishop, right? So we can't go for this checkmate. So don't worry, we have this check. I mean, that's a discover check and also attack here. Let's say guys, king moves away. You just grab this queen. That's fine. Yes, you just want a queen here. Again, just play logically and you can simply win this game in no time, because the moment pawn takes pawn, white is gonna lose this pawn, and this bishop is hanging, this pawn is hanging, and now guys, guess what? Yes, you are again going to win this game. Okay guys, we are back on the same position where we discussed knight d4. Let's say if knight comes to g5, hitting on this pawn, hitting on this pawn, because it's defended only once, so that's why it's very common move. Then we have castle, that's fine. Knight takes, knight takes, knight takes. We have rook e1, e8, pinning this knight to the king. Let's say they defended, we just attack this knight. This knight is just lost here, so that's fine. Therefore vassal, just take, again take, hitting on this bishop. That's fine. And at the end of the trade, guys, you have 1 point lead, great attacking position. You have two golden pair active bishops aiming on this square. We have a developed rook here. You can simply just go for this attack, and then there is a checkmate, of course. So guys, your position is actually very great here, and if you will play logically, you can simply win this game. So guys, this was the Elephant Gambit, and thank you for watching. I have covered most played moves in that way that you don't need to watch any other videos on the Elephant Gambit. I have tried my best. So if you like my hard work, then do comment about it, that how you have liked it. That actually motivates me to publish more, to upload more videos like this.